of the Bar Council's National Young Lawyers Committee and the KL Bar's Young Lawyers Committee. He has written articles for the mainstream media and for lawyerburuk.com, and his columns in the Star's iPad application and in Sinar Harian. What? I have to say, it makes me wish I were young again. Today, Shahrazan will speak on the Bar Council's effort in regard to the PAA and the next steps it intends to take to defeat the Act. Shah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to, not to correct you, but just to provide some information, the Peaceful Assembly Act came into force just recently on the 9th of February 2012, where it was gazetted. Okay? So just recently, about 2 days ago, this bill has now become an act and it is now in force. So what this basically means, ladies and gentlemen, our gathering today is a gathering in a prohibited place. Why is it a gathering in a prohibited place? Because as I was walking here, I saw a few of these so-called prohibited places. Namely, there is an LRT station nearby. I am not sure whether it's within 50 meters or the radius of that particular LRT station, but someone needs to actually, try and measure it. And also I saw Jejantas. Now, I'm not sure whether this can be considered a bridge, okay? But if it is a bridge, then definitely it is within 50 meters of this particular hall, and technically this is a perhimpunan haram. Okay? So you have to remember, when we talk about prohibited places, they will tell you, for certain assemblies, you just need to give notification. For prohibited places, there is no such thing as notification. It is an absolute bar. No two ways about it. No such thing about giving notification, hey, we want to gather today in Chinese Assembly Hall, we want to have this forum. No such thing. Okay? And to show you the absurdity of this law, okay, not only is a place like the Chinese Assembly Hall is prohibited, Bar Council, which is within 50 meters of a bridge, is also a prohibited place. So no more events in Bar Council. Even more absurd, Solat Jumaat is now illegal because it is a gathering within a place of worship. Your Sunday masses, Christians, already you are getting screwed left, right, and center. Now your Sunday masses are now illegal because it is a gathering in a place of worship. Let's look at other things. Let's look at school assembly, perhimpunan, dalam sekolah. That is also a prohibited place because it is within a school. So this is how absurd this bill is actually, well, now it's an act. This is how absurd this act really is, okay? That's just one, prohibited places. The other main thing, the main flaw of this bill is, of course, with regards to street protests, okay? Now, when you say street protests, they want you to think that, there are riots and people are going on the streets and creating a lot of havoc and all that. But look at the definition of what is a street protest. Basically, in layperson's term, it is what you call a moving assembly. Okay? It is an assembly where there is one point in which you gather, and then you move to another point. And then what you're doing is to achieve a particular goal. Okay? So basically, any moving assembly from one point to another point can be a street protest. Okay? A few days ago, the Thai Muslim procession. A few days ago, the Maulidur Rasul procession. Those can be considered a street protest. And it can be stopped because it's again outright prohibition. Okay? this is a flawed act. It is an act which has been pushed through with unholy haste, and they cannot pull it back because they put their cards out. It has become a political issue, and they cannot pull it back. So they have to see it through. And now, I ask you, anytime you see any of the, MPs or who actually supported this bill, ask them these questions, okay, about the act. See how they answer, because I don't think they know these flaws when they actually passed it. Okay, that's just a general, I'm not here to actually, to talk about the weaknesses of the act. I'm sure a lot of you know already what the weaknesses are. It's just to give you a background as to why is it that a lot of us are actually against this Bill Now Act, okay? Just to explain as well, I am not actually part of the Bar Council. The Bar Council is 36 people, 36 lawyers, okay? And I'm just a member of the bar, just a lawyer, okay? And I happen to chair a committee of the Bar Council. So I cannot actually say that, oh, I represent the Bar Council, okay? But I was involved with a lot of the efforts that the bar took to try and defeat this Peaceful Assembly Bill Now Act, okay? So I can actually give some insights as to what has happened. But being a true lawyer that I am, I have to give a disclaimer, okay? So, I've given you what's wrong with the act. Things actually started off on the 8th of November 2011, okay? In which the Bar Council was invited for a meeting with the AGs, okay? And they told us that it's regarding freedom of assembly, okay? They say they want to have a consultation with the bar regarding freedom of assembly. So a few of us went. One of them is Lim Chi Wee, the president. I was there as well. And at that meeting, we were told that they are going to table a bill, a progressive bill, okay? A bill that is going to replace Section 27 of the Police Act. Okay, as you all know, Section 27 provides that you need to give a permit, you need to obtain a permit for you to have an assembly. And we are told that this new bill is being drafted, and actually it has been drafted, but it's not been finalized yet. And the so-called salient points of the bill were read out to us. Okay, we were never given any copies of the bill, okay, but the salient points were read out to us. And this issue of street protests actually came up. And what happened was, when we heard that they're going to prohibit street protests, we of course said, you shouldn't, that's a constitutionally guaranteed right. But then we were informed that actually when you talk about street protests, you're talking about riots. So okay, well, riots, we don't want a riot, okay? So if that is the definition, then of course we say, yeah, it's justified that you say, you want to prohibit riots, okay? And then a few other things were mentioned to us regarding this bill that they wanted to table. So we were also under the impression that there will be further discussions and consultation with the bar after this. And then suddenly, on the 22nd of November, which is actually, 2 weeks later, word got out that this Peaceful Assembly Bill has been tabled in Parliament in the Dewan Rakyat, and that it is supposed to be this bill to regulate assemblies. Now, on the basis of what we were told last time and the impression that we got, we thought that, okay, they have tabled it, okay, it looks like it's a good bill when it was informed to us. So, okay, good. So, it was presented, and I think the initial reaction that most people had were, when they actually went through the bill, was that they were outraged, okay? But personally, I didn't go through I had the impression that I had when we met with the AGs. So, my thoughts about the bill at first wasn't as bad as some other commentators. Because I thought that at least now we don't need a permit to assemble, you only need to notify and all that. So that meant that there is a step in the right direction, to speak, so to speak. It's not enough, but perhaps it's a step forward, I thought. But upon a closer look at the bill, one realizes that actually there are major flaws, there are major contradictions in this bill. It's a kind of bill that if you don't actually scrutinize it well, and you just listen to the sound bites, and you just make a cursory comparison, you are going to actually think that it is a progressive bill. It's that kind of bill. So that's why it is so important that information gets out there to say that why this bill is fraud, or now this act. Why we need to still push for amendments to this act. Because it's a kind of bill where, you need to actually look at it properly, and to see that there are major contradictions. It looks as if it's progressive, I'm sure if a lot of people didn't make noise about this, a lot of us would have thought that, yeah, okay, good. Section 27 is going to be replaced by this new act, which seemed to be a progressive one. So then, I still remember that time a news portal actually got my comments on this bill. And because my initial comments were not as bad as other people, they actually compared it with, at that time, Dato' Ambiga's comment. So you can just imagine Dato' Ambiga saying the bill is unconstitutional, and then compare it with me, who says, oh, it's a step in the right direction. When you look at that and you compare it, I looked at it and said, oh my goodness, who is this? You compare it, who is this Kuchi fellow? Contradicting what Dato' Ambiga said, and saying that the bill is a good bill. So it was quite an experience at that point in time. But again, the bar was, we were quite, we thought, we had the initial thoughts, initial impressions, and then when we actually looked at the bill, we realized that there's a lot of flaws. And then we started to make a stand. I think it first started off with the President's press statement, okay, regarding the bill, one press statement, and then we then met with opposition lawmakers, okay, because they wanted us to brief them about the bill, so we met. And then there were also some meetings with government or Barisan lawmakers as well about the bill. And then we started to have more discussions. We thought, okay, what is the best way forward? Okay. And one of the things that we floated was to amend the bill. There is a procedure in Parliament in which you can actually propose amendments through an MP to a bill. So we thought, okay, maybe we can do this. Okay? Maybe to come up with a completely new act or bill would take too much time and effort. Let's try and propose amendments. Let's try and tamper with the effects, the bad effects of this bill. Of course, to do that, we needed to have an MP to propose it. Okay? We're not going to get anyone from that side. We're not going to get anyone from the independent bloc, obviously. Ibrahim Ali doesn't like this. And Pakatan Rakyat has also taken a stand against the bill. And their stand is that they are going to reject the bill. So the issue of amendments was just a no-go to them. So we didn't have an MP to actually try and propose the amendments. But we thought, okay, never mind. We will still make amendments to this bill, try and show the people that, okay, this bill shouldn't be rushed through, okay? You can make amendments to it, and you should make amendments to it. We have made amendments for you, okay? Although maybe not through an MP per se. Later on, when we actually sat down and discussed, the team that was supposed to actually come up with those amendments was led by Dato' Yeo Yang Po, who is a former president of the Malaysian Bar. And he said that, why are we just amending this very, very flawed bill? Why don't we come up with a new bill, a better bill? Okay, we show them that we can come up with something better, and that, you know, for all your resources in the AG's chambers and in government, if you really wanted to give effect to Article 10, sub 1, sub B of the Federal Constitution, then we can come up with a much better bill. So, I still remember it started off, there was a holiday, I think, on Monday. So on Saturday, a team sat down. It was like an operations room. It was in the president's firm. A team just sat down. Dato' Yeo Yang Po actually agreed to come all the way from Johor Bahru, because he's based there. Came all the way to work on this bill, and it was going to be a completely new bill. It wasn't an amendment to the PA 2011. Sat down. About, I think, 10 members of the bar, along with some changing students, just camped for 3 days in the president's firm and worked on this alternative bill. Okay? And it's not as if we had to pluck it out of thin air, because we have a lot of so-called precedents from other places, other jurisdictions. We've got the Northern Ireland legislation, we've got the UK's legislation. We took from Queensland as well. We took a legislation from Canada. So with all these things, we just plucked and molded it into an alternative bill. Okay? And the point was, after that on Tuesday, we are going to march to Parliament and hand over a memorandum along with this alternative bill to the government, to tell them, look, why are you rushing this? You can come up with a better thing. We have come up with an alternative. Consider it. Why are you rushing this? Okay, so somehow it got done. The bill came up, the alternative bill, okay, before Tuesday, distributed and everything. And I could safely say, although I may be a bit biased, I can safely say that that bill, which was drafted in 3 days, is a far superior bill than what the government has come up with. Okay, and we just took 3 days. And not because we are super great or whatever, because we had a lot of precedents. All we needed to do was just to take from here and there and mold it into one alternative bill. Okay? So, of course, you knew after that, the march, not only lawyers participated, a lot of civil society members, activists. I think I see some of you there as well. So we marched. It was a very elitist kind of march. You know, it wasn't that long. Just a stretch of road. Typical of lawyers, I must say. Okay, 5 minutes. Then we stand. So and it was quite red dope as well. So it wasn't really that hot. We were stopped at the Parliament, and they allowed 10 of us to go in and give the symbolic handover of the bill to the government. And Dato' V.K. Liew, the Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, had agreed to accept the alternative bill and the memorandum on our behalf. So when there, the police didn't do anything. It was very calm, peaceful, you know, except for a few motorists who were not very happy. Came out, everyone happy, went back, okay, thought we had done something good. On the same day, the Dewan Rakyat passes the bill. It is very frustrating actually, you know, when you say that, look, you know, just consider it. And we know we might not have any real power to say that, look, you know, you've got to take our bill. Just consider it. Consider why we're making so much noise. That's all we ask. Why do you have to push it? On the same day, the bill was passed in Dewan Rakyat. Okay? So, and of course, you now know where the bill is. It's now in act. So how do we move forward? On the last part, if you know, the Constitutional Law Committee, through the My Constitution campaign, we have come up with an FAQ, a frequently asked question about the PA 2011, okay, at that point in time. We would now need to update that particular FAQ and make it available. We now have it in Bahasa and in English. Perhaps we can get someone to translate it into other languages as well. And perhaps it can be disseminated, but we need to update that particular FAQ. Also, I think there are a lot of efforts by civil society movements to try, and one of them is Google. On the BAR's part, we will continue to engage the government. We cannot disengage. Whatever it is, the BAR cannot disengage from the government. Okay, we will still need, every time there is a function or anything like that, this issue will be brought up. And also, in terms of our public awareness education campaign, every time, like for example, if we have My Consti events, we will insert a short topic or a short description or anything on this act, just to give the education, the awareness to people. Okay. Also, what we plan to do is, probably next month, we are going to organize a debate or a forum. We haven't decided yet. A debate or a forum. I'm personally not so fond of debates. Between the BAR, the government, and perhaps Suhakam. Okay? So we want to bring someone from the government to sit down and discuss the legal aspects of this bill or now act. Okay? Things like what I've told you. Prohibited places. Why is it? How do you justify something like this? You know, how do you justify outlawing or making it unlawful for people to gather in mosques, for example, you know, or in Kuala Lumpur Chinese Assembly Hall? We want them to sit down because I don't think that has ever been done. There is a debate with Tan Kim Liang, for example, but he's hardly the government, and it was hardly a scintillating debate, anyways. So we want the government to actually come and defend their position. Okay? So let this be advance notice to the government that an invitation will come from the Bar Council Constitutional Law Committee to ask them to come to Bar Council, or if they want a neutral place, they can come here. Or is this a neutral place? They can come here as well to have a legal discussion or a debate on this issue. Okay? We want them to actually justify to us why is it all these provisions are there. Because I think a lot of the discussion before this, a lot of the discussions before this has been centered around the theories of it. You know, let's hunker down and look at this, the legal aspects of it, and let them justify it to us. Okay? And again, as I said, we will continue to educate, we will continue to engage with them, and this is one of the forms of engagement. How we educate the people, we are looking at a few things, maybe some of the video. Have you seen the My Consti's Riot Service Advertisements? There's 9 of them. We're thinking of making a last one, just focusing on this Peaceful Assembly Act. Okay? That would mean I will need to get funds from Bar Council. So, and Bar Council, despite what you think, is not rich. And just continue to engage. And one of the ways is this, you know, to just give this kind of talks to tell the people about what's the position. Okay, so thank you so much for listening to me. Hope that's beneficial. I think questions will take later. Okay, thank you.